Hey, everybody, welcome to Beyond the Bell. I'm Andrew Zarian. I'm solo today. It's a solo show. Actually, I'm not that solo. I got my producer, MG, here. He's going to be hanging out for a little bit. We're going to do something a little different today. Actually, not so different, just minus Rich. We're going to run down whatever is happening in pro wrestling. It's the end of the year. A lot is happening in pro wrestling. John Cena's done. Gunther is the most hated man in all of... Actually, no, Triple H is the most hated man in all of professional wrestling right now. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to do a Q&A as my signs are falling here. How are you this morning, MG?
I'm great, man. Got up early today, got a couple things done, made some nice fresh coffee. I'm ready to go.
I am dying. I have not been able to work out because of my shoulder problems. I feel like I'm depleting. I'm so thin. Too thin now. Now I'm too thin.
Oh, no.
You know how the day would go too sweet? Now I got too thin.
Welting away.
I'm welting away. Well, I got to bulk up. I got to up the protein now. So, but you know, I wanna do a big Q&A today if we can. But I do want to spend time on the John Cena retirement and the aftermath of this, because as far as the retirements go, right? A lot of people were upset over the loss.
I have some thoughts on it now after I've collected myself.
Do you want to you want to know my main why people were really pissed off in that building? Because they paid a lot of money and they wanted to go home happy. And when your ticket prices are what they are, something abysmal, you're gonna want to leave happy. It's gonna be really hard to tell everybody, oh yeah, you're gonna like it even though your favorite guy loses.
It was a bittersweet ending.
I thought it was fine. I was okay with it.
I did too at the time.
I didn't think... listen, if he won, it doesn't matter. If he loses, it doesn't matter. It actually helps Gunther more than anything else. But, you know...
And that's what John wanted. John wanted to leave it better. You know,
John wanted to leave it... Exactly. He wanted to put someone over. He wanted to make somebody, which he did. Gunther is now the guy that beat John Cena. And... you know, the greatest of all time. He beat him. But, you know, here's the thing, right? Why the uproar this time? Ric Flair retirement. He lost. Right?
I have a theory. What?
Give me a theory. Give me a theory. I want to know your theory.
You also have, the one that I think really irked people was Kurt Angle. Right?
Well, that was a nightmare. That was done totally wrong.
Right.
That and it had nothing to do with him losing. The Kurt Angle loss had nothing to do with him losing. The Kurt Angle loss had to do with the fact that how it was done and who it was. This sign is dead. I don't know what the hell's going on. I had a sticky thing on the legs. We'll just leave it like that now. The Kurt Angle thing sucked, but I mean, this was not that. John got a 1-year send off. They gave the audience that heel turn that they were asking for 20 years.
Which turned out not to be a good thing. And then, here's the thing. So, let me put you like this.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this last couple of days after you and I did the radio show. And when we got done with that, we were talking about how this is how it's always been done. And then it occurred to me, there was such a gap with good wrestling from Cena's era in the old era that a lot of these fans don't care about the traditions. And
they don't know the traditions because
exactly.
This is that's a weird insider thing. Like, you got to think about this, right? You as a kid, right? You're watching wrestling. Are you thinking about the time-honored tradition?
No. And a lot of these guys, a lot of these people that were outraged and crying online, and in tears in the building, all started watching wrestling like in 2000, 2001 and grew up with John Cena's career.
I was fine with it. Whether he won or lost, it doesn't really matter. Did he get a good match? Did people enjoy the match? I know people want to go home happy, but I don't know. You know, for me, I guess I'm too affected by this, so I'm like, no, he has to lose on his way out. That's what you do. But if you don't have that mindset and you're just, you know, and by the way, most people are just casual fans. They're not us.
Yes.
They're not sitting in here. Fresh and Fly, 0217. That is not one of those. What floor in our chat room? Kurumetariko. I don't even know how to pronounce it, even though he's here every single week, and I appreciate it. We are not that demo. So I got to tell you, like, my daughter hates John Cena. Hates him. Don't know why. Not a fan. You know who else he doesn't like? She doesn't like? She hates CM Punk.
Oh, dear.
Hates him. Loves Dominic. Loves
and you
Dominic.
Still feed her?
I'm fine with that, you know. She's into dumb.
Knowing your kind of affection for the old CM Punk days.
I love Punk. He's great. He's fantastic. But and then you have the other side where Sting won, right? And that's a lot of insight.
That's what I was going to go into.
They were thrilled. Yeah. But if it makes, if Sting lost, I don't think it would have really mattered as much either. I think it would have been, wow, he did great by us. He was in AEW. He had some great matches. He never lost. They honored him in a different way. I think it's fine. Sometimes you got to change things up. So imagine next time if CM Punk were to retire or whoever else is retiring next and they win.
AJ Styles.
Or AJ. AJ's a great one. Yeah. Okay. So, AJ goes over and he goes over on top. Will it make a difference? No, probably not. It doesn't really matter. I thought that was his government name, by the way. Kurumetariko. It's not on your birth certificate, dude? So I don't know. I find here's another one. Armand in the chat room. Gunther is gonna retire AJ. That would be great. I think that's what he should be. He should just retire all these people.
So we'll talk a little bit more about Raw in a second, maybe, but there was that segment and Gunther cut that nasty promo. And then leaves the building and walks out, and AJ's there, and it was just very subtle. Stared at him. That's the WrestleMania match, I think. Wouldn't you say?
I'm into that. I think listen, if you're talking about setting up Gunther to be this menacing heel, this hated heel that has actual heel heat, and he's not a cool heel, he's not a go home heel. Fantastic.
He's an old school heel.
He's an old school heel.
I've been trying to compare him to someone from the 70s.
It's hard because he's so. Yeah. I don't know who to compare him to. Somebody asked me if I could compare him to someone. This is like a couple of weeks ago, oddly, and I couldn't come up with anybody.
I have someone, but it's so hard to picture it.
Give me.
Because it was way before our time. Gorilla Monsoon.
A Gorilla Monsoon. It's before my time. I can't even do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, okay. So I was going to go, because he is that 1970s, early 80s heel. But there's a couple in that era that kind of, he gives that same aura, where it was just a no bones wrestler, and that was it. And you got what you got.
Yeah.
But, so we talked about this the other day, but did you like how the match went?
I didn't dislike it. I thought he was a perfect opponent for Cena at this point.
Yeah.
The pacing, but again, I like a slow, methodical wrestling match.
Right, where every move is telling a story. That's what this match.
I really like that, and I think that's a little difficult for an entire generation of fans, because everything is so fast. Like and this is a little bit of a problem in wrestling. I think what's happened is the style has changed, and it's gotten so fast where there's no room to sell because you're going through everything. Also, the training changes that. But I think as far as, like a match like this, like people complain about Randy Orton all the time. They go, oh, he's boring. I'm like, he's not boring at all. He's incredible. But
you're not used to that style of a match, right?
But you need different style matches. Like, that's the whole thing. On AEW's side, AEW's just doing hardcore matches now. Everything is blood. Everybody's bleeding. Everybody is getting, pummeled. I like the fact that you could slow things down. Like Cesaro, for example, is great at that. Slow, methodical.
Actually, that's a fairly good comparison to Gunther, but he's a little more athletic.
He's a little bit more athletic, yeah. But as far as like a slow style, like a Randy Orton, a Gunther, a Cesaro, like let me put you in a hold for a little bit.
Put him in that.
Triple H, I think Yeah, Triple H, great. Another one, slow. Let's calm it
That
down. Let's tell the story.
That European style. That's
It's
kind
the
of where it
European
all
influence.
revolves
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah. Listen, I think there's a variety. I think you need a variety of everything. I'm not, I don't complain. I actually, I have to tell you, I have a line about hardcore wrestling, right?
Mhm.
That line, it moves every now and then. I don't love the over use of blood, but I also enjoy the use of blood. You know what I mean? There has to be an in between.
Yeah, and it's very minute, the difference of how much is that. Because like I'll go back to one. I goes, oh, that's too much blood, but it ended up working in the end, and that was that women's blood and guts match when you saw Sky Blue, just crimson mask, and they
Yeah.
showed the shot, and that's all you needed to sell that whole match.
Yeah, like I was never a CZW fan. I never liked it.
No,
They had
Now-
some great talent come through there. But it wasn't my thing. I don't want to see fluorescent tubes in matches.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't want
where
to see
it kind
glass in match. It
Yeah.
becomes so much where it's no longer a match.
Mhm.
You know,
The
it's
one
n-
GC,
I don't
I've
know
been
what
known
it
to watch
is.
GCW, but
That's all I
the one that
watched.
turned me off. What's that?
That's all I mean, that really was like, I was a huge ECW fan. I watched all
No,
of it. I went to the Elks Club.
GCW.
Oh, GCW, not my thing. Not
No,
poo-pooing
no.
on you for liking it. Not my thing.
No, it was a couple years. Actually, when we were in, I believe it was when we were in Chicago, there was an incident where they taped a a stack of fluorescent tubes to the top of a ladder, and a guy almost lacerated his neck and had to be rushed out of there immediately, and they almost died. So I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's not worth it, and it just looks bad.
Listen,
So,
sometimes it looks good, sometimes it looks bad. I think majority of the time it looks bad. Less is more sometimes. Here's a great example. Samoa Joe, right? That man was covered in blood. He was spitting up blood at the end of that main event when he won the world title a couple weeks ago. I had no problem with that.
it happened in the middle. It happened in the match, and it looked, as long as if I can tell that, hey, you just bladed, then we got a problem.
I don't know. I don't even care about that. I want it to make sense. I don't want it to be overly violent, and I want it to make sense.
Yes.
It could be done. It's a gray. It's a lot of gray. But as far as Cena's retirement goes, I was fine with it. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, though, it is, watching WWE is something very different than it was 10 years ago.
Of course.
It is not. It's borderline unrecognizable to me.
Mm-hmm.
As a huge wrestling, as someone that has watched wrestling, I mean, my entire life, it is become an unrecognizable thing.
Mm-hmm. And one thing you got to remember too is technology.
I'm not saying it in a bad way.
They've had to upgrade how their product looks to keep up with technology, because every little thing comes across on the screen now, right?
Yeah, listen, I don't feel that way about AEW though. Their presentation still looks like professional wrestling. It's still presented like professional wrestling. I don't feel that way about, TNA is TNA. I don't feel that way about New Japan. They have their very specific sports-centric aesthetic. WWE has become a big production television show. This is everything that Vince wanted. He wanted Saturday Night Live, or he wanted Disney on Ice. He wanted the Muppet Show, essentially, a live-action Muppet Show, and that's what we have. He had to leave for us to get there.
One thing I did like they did Saturday night is after, and this was a Joe Tessitore thing. Working for ESPN so long, I think he just went with it. When Cody was outside the ring on the post show, Cody was outside the ring, and Jackie Redmond just, hey Jackie, can you just go down there and on the fly talk to Cody? Yeah, he's taking it all in, and that was all unscripted. That was live in the moment. So I really
chat room saying Beyond the Bell's worried about production, but they're keeping MG off the screen while he talks. Well, he's not allowed on screen.
No, I'm not allowed.
Sean doesn't let him on screen.
Uh-uh.
I can't do anything about that. He's banned. He had one incident during a Fightful special, and that was it. Told you keep your pants on.
The Fightful special that was in Puerto Rico.
Fightful special that was in Puerto Rico. Yeah, that was the one. That was the one. I don't know. I thought it was fine.
If you
I
know,
thought
you know.
I thought Cena leaving. The crowd loves him. This is the first time that he had full 100%. There was no Cena sucks. It was all let's go Cena.
Mhm.
The only thing I'm thinking is, what does this do to merch sales for John Cena now for the company?
They'll pick up somewhere else. I mean, his merch, it'll still be there. People will still rock it. Not as much as time goes
Yeah.
on, but and like you've said in the past, you feel like he's going to be around again. I do too, but I told you the other day, I said, I don't know about you, but it feels like he's got at least 4 years of projects down the road
Who,
booked.
Cena?
And yeah,
Well, here's
so
a good
we'll keep
question.
him
Let's ask the
away.
chat room
Mhm.
this. Let's ask the chat room this.
Mhm.
Do you think he will come back and wrestle? I'm willing to take the bet and say yes. Eventually, he will.
I'm going to say no.
You're gonna say no. You think he's
Always
done.
not. I think he's kept to his word. He's been very good about keeping his word. And he watched Shawn Michaels, seeing that disaster.
Well,
I wouldn't want to do it.
I'm willing to bet there is a timeline here, right? There is a timeline. There is an alternate universe where that Shawn Michaels return match in that tag match, nothing bad happens. He has a hell of a match, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, we need another one." And him and Styles ended up having a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
If that match did not go the way it did, if it actually worked, he would have probably had another match.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I think he saw this as the ultimate sign. You know, he came out to go wrestle in Saudi Arabia, and out of all the places he could have done it, out of all the matches he could have had, he came out of retirement and have a tag match against Undertaker and Kane, and ended up becoming the biggest disaster. With Kane's wig coming off.
Yeah,
and Hunter tearing his entire upper
chest
body,
exploding.
His chest exploded. Yeah, but interesting.
Is,
I mean, it was John Cena's done. That's it.
Also, kind of that's my example for why I'm not a fan of guys that stay on too long. Because a lot of people to see these guys come back. I remember Kurt Angle came back. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to be great. We're going to get." And I goes, "You're remembering 2004 Kurt Angle. You're not remembering the guy that's recovering from all these
you know what's
drugs
wild
and
though?
everything else.
We never it's interesting because you want to talk about generationally, right? Like Cena's the next generation. Before Cena was who? It was Austin and The Rock. Right? I mean, they're close as far as their push went. Their main push went. They kind of almost overlap, but Cena was that generation. Austin and Dwayne were the other. Hogan was the other one. Like, my grow-up generation was Hulk Hogan, right? It was Hogan, then it was Bret, then it was Shawn. But that initial generation, like, it was rare to get retirements. We never got a Hulk Hogan retirement. We never got a Bret Hart retirement.
No, they just stayed. They considered themselves active, and
I mean, Bret couldn't, right? But we never got
Mhm.
this like, okay, it's his retirement. We got it with Flair, and then he came back. He never retired.
Yeah.
Terry Funk
And
never
again,
retired.
had one of the most disastrous matches of all time, and I don't want to.
Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the final one?
No, Flair's last match.
Okay, I will tell you, I have brainwashed myself because I when I first watched it, remember I said I never want to see this again.
Yeah.
And then my father wanted to see it, and I saw it again. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I watched it a third time. I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't as bad. I brainwashed myself into thinking it wasn't as bad as I initially thought it was.
It's just, at some point, it's just time. And I hope that maybe Cena's an example for that. It's, hey, when you're done, you can be done. And part of that has to do with the money they're making now, because that's a lot of the reason why those guys stayed on as long as they did is, they weren't financially secure as they are now.
I guess, that's why, because it doesn't make sense to retire. Why are you going to retire? And then the other part is the way that wrestling is now, right? If this was wrestling 25, 30 years ago, you're talking 1998, 1999, 2000. Peak, attitude boom. If pro wrestling had the mindset that it does today, where, hey, you don't have to, like, go on the road. You could just do, like, a couple dates here and there and have a big mega match. Can you imagine that mentality in, like, 98, 99, 2000, 2001?
Yeah.
There would have been so
No.
many of these odd returns for one-off programs. We almost got it with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, right? In the 2000s. But that was late.
Well,
But
he
if
had
you,
that match with Jericho, right? Was it Jericho?
and it was great. Yeah,
At Mania?
it was a tag match. It was a tag it was like
Yeah.
all the legends, and then he had I think it was a singles. And then he had that incident. I think something happened with the Nexus when they attacked. I think he had like was it a heart attack or something?
I don't remember that. That era's kind of hit or miss, but
my point is, if this logic of, hey, I want to come back, but I'm only going to do 10 shots. How many of these guys would have been around so much longer? I think that's a positive.
EMC in the chat has one. I'll throw it on the screen.
Give me.
Bret Hart against Vince, WrestleMania 26.
Yeah. That was all wacky. I think they wanted to do a lot more if it wasn't for the Lloyds of London issue, for the insurance issue. Did you ever see that house show video of Bret? There was a house show where Bret was like it was like a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-4. And Bret's actually doing everything.
Okay.
He goes on the second rope. He does this. He's, he's doing stuff. I mean, he's legitimately wrestling, and he looks so good. He's one of the best. Not so, I mean, Bret had his other issues, but I mean, great example would be Bret doesn't have that concussion. Bret is not out, but he really can't do it as much. Bring him back a couple times. Shawn Michaels too. Maybe he doesn't retire, but he says, "Okay, listen, guys, I'll come back, but I'll do like, WrestleMania. I'll do a Royal Rumble, and that's about it. I'll come back a couple times a year, get talent over, move a program around. That helps. That's an asset."
Yeah. Well, now they're kind of doing now they're just splashing him with like the Undertaker. He's gonna come in, and heck, AEW just did it with Sting like last month.
Undertaker came, Sting came in, did something, and left. Yeah.
And then they're gone, and we don't, and there's no explanation of why they were there.
That's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
Help a friend or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move into this. John Cena retired. I don't want to spend too much time. So many people spoke about this on Fightful. Last night it was all about Gunther and the heat that Gunther got. That crowd was not that. Well, that crowd was not so hot, but they were really hot for booing Gunther.
What else did you like from Saturday night's main event, real quick? If there was one thing,
I thought Obafemi looked like $1 million.
Yeah, me too.
I thought Oba looked really, really good. Better than I expected. The crowd really was into him. I hated the finish of the match, but I thought Oba looked great. I will say that the AJ Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater match, that needed more time. I didn't like the Miz segment, and the main event was fine.
The Miz segment, we know what it was there for.
I didn't love the Sol Ruka match and the Bailey match. I didn't love that.
Although Sol Ruka to me is another one of those that is going to be a star, I think.
Oh yeah, they've already decided it. I mean, listen, it is not. It is. Do you know how many people are in developmental now? It's like obscene, the number. You know how many people just disappear from that system? They are literally.
Well, now they have so many. Now they have so many branches of it, right? You can throw people in Evolve. You can, hey, go down to Mexico and we're AAA, and hey, we're going to send you over to Japan, and so they can stash people in, and you forget about them, and they come back. You're like, oh, I forgot they were there. Yeah. You remember Wendy Chu? When was the last time you heard of her?
Yeah, where is she? Yeah,
she's in Evolve, but you just don't see her that much.
Yeah, it's
people
a lot
like that.
Yeah. LA Knight is out indefinitely. Did you see this?
Yes, and
cracked sternum and other injuries. I saw that. Let's talk about Raw and CM Punk and what's going on here. This is getting convoluted.
This might have, for you it is? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not liking the Austin Theory as the masked man.
Well, we kind of knew that, right? They had said that months ago. We kind of expected that's where they were going.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a Braun break. I mean, they should just take that title off of him. I'm into this. I'm into Braun Breaker just beating him.
I don't think
Tied
he
into
should win
Cena,
on
say that
first
he was so like this. He was like all messed up because Cena's gone and he lost, and he's like, well, we're about the same age and we came up around the same time. Is it my
try.
time too? And he got 2 into his own head, and he loses the title.
I guess you can make that work. That works. For one, I don't know what you thought about that promo, but I had some. I did get a little pipe bomb vibes the way he came out, like angry.
Oh, talking about the brother, bring your brother, bring your father, bring your uncle. Steiner Man's not going to help you. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was very good. And then at the end when he did get speared, Breaker looks down and goes, keep my family out of your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, and the by the way, the LA Knight stuff, it is a storyline.
Yes.
That is a story. Let me just I glossed over that. That is a storyline. But they got to do something with him. He's another one.
I think they're setting up something. That's why they do this. Obviously. Yeah, and the other thing I thought from Raw was when at the beginning of the Gunther promo where he said he tapped out like a little bitch. I thought that was good. And then
he was great.
Walking through the back, and then he hits AJ Styles, and it's like, oh, they're staring, and there was no contact. I'm like, they're staring at each other. I goes, that may be the WrestleMania match. They're setting up AJ's retirement now. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Let's go to AEW here, and then we'll do some questions from the chat. AEW Dynamite Holiday Bash from Manchester. Now, this is airing. I'm not going to ruin this, actually. I'm going to skip over this. But there's something happening here. All right? There's something happening here. The main event, they did is it going to hurt everybody if I spoil this? What do you think?
You can go.
Do you guys want to hear the results or no? I'm going to skip over this, but I will say something. The main event at World's End, I expect to be a little different. Okay?
Oh, I know. I know where you're going.
I don't want you to say a thing.
Okay. I'm sorry. My
that
bad.
main event, I expect it to go a little bit different. And I want you to come back to this moment when things happen. And you will say, "Oh, wow. Andrew knew something." I don't want to ruin the main event. I don't want to ruin the show. I've made a promise to myself and some others that I'm not going to ruin these things for them. So I've been a little bit more reserved about it. But if things go where I think they're going to go, I'm going to be very excited for it.
Got it.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Did I tell you this or no?
Oh, yes, you did. We discussed it the other day.
Okay. All right.
At least I think I know. After I'll tell you what I think you.
Yeah.
What I think you were implying.
Yeah. Yeah. But what did you think of the show on Saturday? That collision.
I thought it was a good show.
That Cesaro match, the Claudio match was great.
Yeah, the Claudio Cesaro. You still do it, Jesus.
I can't call him Cope. He's Edge. I'm an edger. You're not an edger. Most of this chat rooms they're edgers in the chat room.
Back in the day, Rich had the hardest time. You know what his hang up was? You do remember this?
What?
When Kenta went to NXT and he was Hideo Itami. Rich could not say that. He had to say
Hideo
Kenta.
Yeah. Well, they debuted him as Kenta, and then they made his name disappear. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
On the screen?
Yeah, it changed on the screen. Yes.
Yeah. Why did you do that? Why didn't you just keep him the way he was?
Had Finn Balor there, like he was a magician, like he pointed and the thing just
changed. They did the same with him too. Remember when he came up? It was
Prince Devitt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting how they do that. Well, I mean, Gunther had his name changed midstream, so
yeah,
there's precedent for them to do that.
I'm very. I think there's a lot of stuff happening here. Let's do questions. We're gonna do a quick one today because Rich is not here. It is the holiday season. There's a lot of stuff happening. Wow, I just got an alert on Facebook. Okay, This is from
Oh,
December 16, 2017. Come meet
Okay.
the Ring of Honor World Champion and the Young Bucks on Francis O's Boulevard in Flushing, New York.
That's the time. Wow. Mm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Real
Apparently
quick,
I
I don't know,
went.
did you
I don't
see-
remember going.
You must have.
I
Was
must
that
have.
at the Wrestle Universe?
Yeah,
place?
the Wrestling Universe. Yeah, apparently I was there.
Interesting. Well,
I think I was. Yeah, I think I was there.
that'll have been 8 years ago, right?
Oh, yeah, but there's a lot of holes in my brain
lifetime
from 8 years
ago.
ago. Yeah. Too many IPAs,
Real
dude.
quick, before we do questions, did you happen to see this segment that's airing on SmackDown that WWE released last night, where Nick Aldis went to McIntyre's house to negotiate his return,
Yeah.
and they set up a match. They set up a match for the January 5th show,
Yeah.
and Cody crashed it, and I'm thinking the whole time, oh my God, this is Randy Orton, Triple H invading his house all over.
Did you like that segment when they did it?
At the time, I did. Then I went back and watched it.
What
years
are
later,
your
I go,
thoughts on home
this is-
invasions?
This is you could tell that was all staged. That's why this one actually looked like it might have actually been the front of Drew's house. So, and they were in one of those Florida patio enclosures that they have in Florida because of the bugs. So that looked real. So yeah, this one came off better than the one that like back in the day, because you could tell that was all staged. A front window going through the front window.
Yeah. All right,
At the
let's do
time, I
questions.
thought it was cool.
Let's do some
Okay.
questions.
That's a
Guys,
little
submit
rant.
your questions in the chat room. I will do my best to answer them truthfully and honestly.
All right, I'm gonna bookmark a couple of these for myself, and we'll go. All right, I'm gonna throw them up on screen, and read them, and you go.
Okay, let's
How's
go.
that?
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Gunther versus AJ up next.
AJ up next. Yep.
It looks like it, and I think that I would be okay with that if that's the program that they're going into for AJ. I guess he could lose the title first, right? They'll lose those tag titles,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go from there.
Yeah,
I would imagine that they would probably go there for singles. But you also have to look at Royal Rumble and what's happening here and who could potentially win Royal Rumble. This year, I actually have a bunch of people that could win. You know, normally we kind of have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, I mean, it's a lot of people.
I'm saying another reason why I don't think Braun Breaker should win is I think he should win the Rumble. That's my choice.
I think
don't
Braun
know about
Breaker
you.
could win the Rumble. I think Gunther could win the Rumble. I think you could have, a Roman Reigns come back and win the Rumble.
Bronson Reed, yeah.
A
Roman,
Bronson.
there's-
I don't think Bronson Reed. A Drew McIntyre, whoever's facing Cody. There's so many of those that you could do. That's what if Punk loses it and then he wins the Rumble? That's a possibility too. I mean, there's so many different avenues you could go here. I don't necessarily think that you're locked into something, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. You don't want, and I say this with all the respect, you don't want that match to be a bunch of Greg the Hammer Valentines where they're not going to win, and then there's one Hulk Hogan. The beauty of the Royal Rumble is that you have main guys in there that are all in that title mix that could turn into something. What if Chris Jericho shows up?
Someone's got that on here. That's actually the next question.
All right, let's
I'm
go.
gonna throw that one.
Go another one.
This is the Moochies.
Yeah.
Mm.
Should Gunther retire top WWE talent? Cena, top WCW talent. Goldberg, top TNA talent. Styles, former UFC champion Lesnar, and the inaugural AEW champion Jericho. I mean, if they do that, that is...
That's quite a succession.
Okay.
Right?
You better establish him as the most dominant guy in that company for a very long time. He has to become a Brock Lesnar at that point. Are you ready to make Gunther into a Brock Lesnar, where the expectation is that this man will never lose, and he will always be champion, and he will always be dominant? You know, that's really what it comes down to. Can you convince the audience that that is real?
Do you know who? Now,
or
that I
will
think
it piss
about
everybody
more,
off?
Maybe. It just depends on how they do it. But you know who he does remind me of a little bit, Gunther?
Oh.
But only he's a heel. Is Bruno Sammartino?
Yeah, a
The way
little
he
bit.
was
Yeah,
booked is
yeah.
very
Yeah.
similar.
Very strong, you know.
Mm-hmm. Throwback. I mean,
Yeah.
mm,
You know, it is funny though, because Cena was so hated. Like, people that I know that hated John Cena are so upset about his retirement now. Which, you know, that's the beauty of pro wrestling.
those people were chanting, "Let's go!" They wanted
Cena.
Super
Yeah.
Cena.
They wanted Super Cena.
No, Super Cena, and they hated Super Cena when he was on top. It was so.
We spoke about this on Observer Live. I have a theory on
Yeah.
the rejection of John Cena. Okay,
Mhm.
I really have a theory on this, and it was not his fault. It really came down to what happened in the mid 2000s between Eddie passing away and Chris Benoit murdering his family. That changed the entire trajectory of pro wrestling. For the better, I think. Listen,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, health-wise, for the better. Storyline-wise, it was rough for many years because they did a total 180 and went totally clean and removed a lot of the stuff that made wrestling fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, and remember there were holes in storyline. Remember what happened the night on the Raw that we heard that Chris Benoit.
Vince. It was supposed to be Vince's funeral or memorial. And it was supposed to turn into.
He blew up his limo that night, and then they had to retrack on it the next day.
They blew it up prior.
I thought they blew it up the same night.
No.
The same night of the day.
It was prior. And that Monday was supposed to be the memorial show for Vince. And it was going to lead to a family estate battle between his brother and the McMahons. You know, one side of the McMahons and the other side of the McMahons. His brother Ed.
That's so funny.
Hey-o! No, that's a different McMahon. That's a totally different McMahon. I think if you establish a guy like that, you have to make sure that people know that this guy is the man. I don't know if they've done that with Gunther yet. This is the beginning of it, so we'll see. Give me another one.
Okay, cool. Yep. Let me find you one. This is a good one. It's an AEW one.
How much longer will they tease Okada to Takeshita? I think that's coming soon.
Yeah. By the way, guys, put up your any super chats we'll read first.
Yeah, I think that's coming soon. I think that's coming very soon. But they got a couple things they got to do.
Okay. This one is, we've been talking about this, but I'll put it up anyway.
Happy holidays, Andrew. Ballard Club guy, friend of the show, friend in person. Happy holidays, Andrew. Would you have Braun win the world title on January 5th, or would you like to see Braun win a title in Mania?
I just told you what I thought.
Yeah, I think either could work if done right. I think that could definitely work. I'm trying to think.
It just occurred to me what the Mania match might be. And I don't know if it's going to be CM Punk and Seth Rollins when he comes back, or if it's going to be Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. But they kind of set that story in motion.
I mean, that could also happen. Yeah, that could also happen. I would like to see Seth get away from the hysterical version that he is.
Go more serious. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they realize, okay, this outrageous character is a little too much for right now. But I don't know.
Yeah. I you know what? F it. Have him win on January 5th.
And same guy, Ballard Club, has another follow-up question to that.
January 5th being the first Raw of the new year, do we see Jericho show up that night? I think save him for Rumble. Have him come in at number 2 in the Royal Rumble.
So is that confirmed that he actually did sign?
No.
We're just all speculating. because he could show up at one of these AEW shows any time. I think he still would like to do that. I don't know. That's just me.
I would save him for Rumble if he is coming, or it could be a total swerve and he shows up in AEW that week.
Right. Here's one that's interesting. I'm gonna throw this one up.
Now that Cena's officially retired, people are looking at a man to be the face of the company. But do you think a woman could do it, similar to what Ronda did for UFC? It depends. I mean, it depends if it's the right person. There's more men that watch wrestling. I mean, here's the reality. There's more men that watch wrestling. Far more men that watch wrestling. And it's easier for men to get behind a male face of the company than a female face of the company. That's just how it is. I think if the right person is there, if the right person is there, like you saw what happened with Becky, right? Becky was up there at one point. I think Becky Lynch would have been, probably was the most popular person in the company for a little bit. Rhea became one of the most popular people.
Rhea's right there.
But remember, this is a company. This is a company that has a spoke on the wheel mentality. There's not one guy anymore. There's multiple. Who's the guy right now? Is it Cody? Is it Roman? Is it Punk? Is it Gunther?
It's a combination of all of those.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. And on the women's side, if you look at what AEW is doing, you have Mercedes, who a lot of her matches are main event matches for a reason. Yeah. Because she actually does, I think, draw a little bit, even though that irks a lot of people, but it is what it is. Her and Tony Storm really are the two in that company. But,
yeah, I think it's, it has to happen naturally. It can't be forced. Yeah. None of it could be forced. And I feel like when you start, not you, the person who asked the question, but when you start saying like, oh no, let's position a woman in this position, let's position a man in this position, it changes the entire dynamic. It has to happen organically. It can happen 100%. Ronda Rousey became one of the biggest names in all of MMA history for a few short years, but that was totally organic. You had never seen anything like it. Give me another one.
And okay, here's one. This one I don't know how I feel about it. People really want this Okada Tanahashi match or happen, or this is not for. This will be for Wrestle Kingdom.
Should Kenny be the special guest referee? I wouldn't. No, because that makes it goofy. I hate a special guest referee. Do you know that? Have I ever expressed that? I hate a special guest referee. Well, it totally ruins the match.
The problem is, there's gonna, you know that there's a likelihood that the story is gonna be about the ref and not the two people in the
exactly.
ring.
And the ref is never a good ref. You're watching a really half-ass referee in the match, and the whole story becomes, what will he do? I think you got to keep that Okada Tanahashi match as pure as possible, since it's the last time that they'll do this. What is going on with my hat? There we go.
Well, you remember the Drew McIntyre CM Punk match with Seth Rollins as the special referee.
Yeah, but the whole point of that was
that damn bracelet.
But also that was to do the Undertaker Undertaker Shawn Michaels Bret Hart spot. That was the whole point of that.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Here's one. Keep your questions coming. We got a few more minutes. Yes. I didn't know it was his birthday today.
Oh, is it?
Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Man. His stuff with Cody was fantastic in AEW.
Maybe we should read the question. In honor of his birthday, what your favorite Brody Lee Luke Harper match?
I would probably say what he was doing in AEW with Cody. I thought that was great stuff.
Yeah.
They booked him to be really strong.
That character.
Yeah. That character, he had really tapped into it. That was actually incredible to see from going to a guy that didn't talk and just was like a swamp guy to go into this great character where he's essentially playing Vince McMahon, just yelling at his idiots.
One of my favorite moments with him, and I know this is going back, and it wasn't him in the ring, and it wasn't even him in a match. It was when they were doing it was actually a Cena match when they're doing the John Cena Last Man Standing with Bray Wyatt, and they had just taken out John on the stage, and the whole world in the hands started singing, or he was singing the whole world in the hands, and Luke Harper is just sitting there counting 1, and he kept singing the song, and he was giving the cadence. I goes, okay, that looked cool. That was one of my favorite moments from back in the day.
Actually, let me see what people are saying is his. Luke Harper, Randy Orton, Elimination Chamber 2017. Somebody says.
Yes.
Obviously, the Cody stuff was great. Shield versus Wyatt's best 6-man, in my opinion. This is from somebody. This is 5 years ago, so we've seen a lot more 6-mans.
But that still tracks. Definitely.
His match at Worlds Collide against Dijak, right? That's one.
Yeah.
Orton Harper.
That was the one.
A lot of people saying Orton Harper. He was great. He was a fantastic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Another sad wrestling story.
Mm-hmm. And his was just random. There was nothing anyone could do about it. Here's one that's interesting. I didn't know about this, but
Drake and WWE have a collab on Friday. What do you think of this? Drake as I don't know. I don't know.
It's probably merchandise or something, because that's what they've been doing lately. Here's a question for you, Andrew. I'm
they
sure
couldn't get Kendrick?
someone like maybe. I mean, they tried to get Eminem, right? So here's a question.
Yeah.
How many individual revenue streams do you think WWE has? I don't know the answer.
I knew the answer to this. Answer to this.
It's got to be over 100, right? All the little things they do, and all these little merchandise.
I don't know. I can find this out. I knew the answer to this. I think we spoke about it like 2 years ago. I don't know now. But you gotta have many.
So many more added.
Far more than AEW does. You know. WWE is a merchandising machine first, wrestling second. You know, it's funny that everybody makes that joke about the T-shirt company. AEW is a T-shirt. Remember that? Oh, the T-shirt company.
No,
the T-shirt company. WWE is a toy and T-shirt company. That's what they've always been. Since 1984, they've been a T-shirt company.
Mm-hmm. And they're really bringing that back now. They didn't do those commercials for a while, those toy commercials.
We got our boys Grapsity in the podcast, in the chat room here. Grapsity podcast. Mm-hmm. The promo where Brody challenged Cody to the dog collar match was so good. Yeah, that was so effing good. That was so good.
That. Yeah.
Give me more. Give me some more questions.
I'm working on it.
I see a bunch of them. Look at this. This is fun.
Yes, we're having a good time.
I gotta go pack my kids' Christmas gifts. Like I gotta switch to. I got all this stuff I gotta pack now. I got it outside of my office, and I'm hoping that they're not coming home. I just checked if they have a half day or not, because they were supposed to have a half day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we got a question. Okay.
Do you think Bad Bunny will pop up in another wrestling promotion outside of AEW? Outside of AEW? Oh, like CMLL? No, I don't think so. Hey, that's my Bad Bunny impersonation.
I think if you want him to do a Spanish speaking, he could go to AAA.
But why would he? He has nothing to do with there. I don't know. I think he's fine where he is.
Yeah, and I
don't see him doing anything else outside of WWE. It's too below him. Not like he's like an elitist. It just is one of the biggest musical acts on the planet. So why would he? Right. I don't think he's going to CMLL or AAA or maybe the Puerto Rican.
My example was my dumb example is like, why would Taylor Swift do the Super Bowl when they're not going to pay her?
Because the Super Bowl is the biggest thing in the world.
But she's bigger. That's you could argue.
I don't think she's bigger than the Super Bowl, dude.
But is she going to get more fans because she did the Super Bowl?
No, but she's going to get a lot of housewives that are like, oh, I actually like Taylor. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get a lot of moms that are listening, and they're going to like Taylor Swift. By the way, my daughter's name is Taylor, and it was the biggest mistake I did, because everyone's like, oh, did you name her after Taylor Swift? I'm like, it has nothing to do with Taylor Swift. It has to do with our friend that's a celebrity makeup artist that we absolutely adored her, and we loved her name. That's why my daughter's named Taylor. My son is not named Hunter because of Triple H either. Maybe a little bit, but don't tell my wife, okay? His middle name is Logan because of Wolverine. That is true.
That's great.
My
Not
father
Logan
and I
Paul.
got so loaded, and we were watching the Old Man Logan movie. So
Mhm.
both my kids were supposed to have the middle name Hayden. Okay. Do you know why my
Mm.
daughter's middle name is Hayden?
Is
You're
that
gonna
your
get.
friend, the
You're gonna.
comedian, right?
Yeah. No, not the
Mhm.
comedian.
Mhm.
The Chauncey Hayden from the Howard Stern show is
Yeah.
one of our closest friends,
Yeah.
and
That's who I was
we
thinking
love.
of. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
we love the name. And by the way, he's such a. I mean, don't Google him, please. Don't Google him. He's an out of his mind, mentally ill, sick person, like a very insane human being, which we love. So we picked the middle name Hayden because we like the name Hayden, and both my kids were supposed to have the same middle name. And my father and I got loaded, and we were watching Wolverine, and we were so depressed from that. We go, oh, we have to name him Logan. And then my wife was supposed to be, her name was supposed to be Logan Wolf because they thought she was a boy, and her father was a big Wolverine fan and loves wolves.
Oh.
My wife's name was supposed to be Logan Wolf. Logan Wolf Franco. That was supposed to be her name.
Instead, they went with Jessica.
Instead, they went
we
with
get
Jesse.
there.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
I got one more good one.
Yeah.
And this is so.
That's it. That's all we have. With just one more. Do you think Asuka and Io Sky's storyline is a waste of time? It is if it doesn't get to a conclusion. Where are they going with it?
They keep teasing it, and I don't know if that's what they're doing. If that's the match for Mania, because a lot of people wanted to see that.
But you know,
another
let
one.
me just say this, okay? And I want to know what the audience thinks. I honestly think that it has become very difficult to predict WWE, not because they're booking differently, because they're booking inconsistently. I find the way that they're booking programs and matches to be very inconsistent to how they flowed. And I don't know if it's due to, changes quickly, just pivoting more, or it's that they just fundamentally a little bit more fractured that now that Vince isn't there. I cannot believe, okay? I never talk about the personal stuff, but I cannot believe how many people were online saying, "Oh my God, we need Vince McMahon back to run this company." After John Cena lost, because what do you think Vince would have done? You think Vince would have put him over? I told you this. Vince would have done it,
yeah.
And Vince would have done it in a really bad way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we would have gotten any of this. I think people forget.
I think it would have been. Yeah, I think it could have been closer to what we got with that Brock Lesnar match all those years ago.
Where it was a squash.
Or it would have just been a squash, and then
and that would have been his rib, and that would have been his rib on Cena. Ha ha.
Yeah, it would.
I got you on your way out. I don't know. I don't think Vince would have squashed Cena because he loves him, but I don't think it would have been booked differently. I don't think we would have seen Cena with the title. He would not have hit 17 times.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's a hard thing to say. Hard thing to think of. Okay, I got another question.
All right, let's do it.
This is up your TV alley.
All right,
this is the stuff you like.
Do you think Paramount gets WBD? They're very aggressively trying to get it. Now they don't. This is fascinating stuff. Well, I will tell you, people at WBD do not know what's going on. They're very in the dark on this. A lot of people in positions that normally know stuff, or they're just being very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Mergers are never a good thing for people. Sales are never a good thing for people. They will always come with cuts. Netflix does not want the TV business. They don't want linear. They want the production house, and they want streaming, and they want all that. I think there is still room for Paramount to get the TV side. I don't know what the right answer is here. I don't know what will benefit, AEW. Either way,
it's just mind-boggling to me.
And here's the other thing, dude. Okay, here's the other question.
Mm-hmm.
With Netflix taking, right, let's say it stands the way it is, and the company breaks up. Linear is on one side. It's Discovery, whatever they're calling it, and then you have WBD and Max and HBO all going to Netflix, eventually they're going to have to merge those two. Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It makes no sense to run two separate operations like that. What happens to AEW on WBD? On Max? They have a contract, obviously. But what happens then? Do you move it to TNT Sports? Do you move it to something else? I don't know the answer there. I will tell you, though, that I have seen those Max AEW numbers as far as pay-per-view goes, not TV. It's a decent portion of their pay-per-view. Wow. And it's growing. Now, I'm not saying it's over 50%. It's not over 50% of the pay-per-view revenue. It's not coming from HBO. It is HBO now, right? It's HBO Max. Yeah.
HBO Max. Yeah, it's confusing.
It's on home box office, okay? It's on home box office. We're just calling it home box office.
I'm so mind-boggled by how many different iterations we've gotten in the last 5 years. That company's been bought and sold so many times.
HBO Now, HBO Go, HBO Max.
Yep.
I have seen those numbers.
It was Time Warner, and it was something else, and then it's this, and
I will say that they're growing, which is positive. You have breaking news?
I have breaking news, and
God,
Darren
please.
in our chat brought it up.
Go ahead.
So this just happened, and Mick Foley is not going to sign a new Legends deal, and it's not going to participate in the company. It's political, so I'm not going to read it. But long story short, he's not a fan of the government person in office and WWE's affiliation with them. So he's not going to be involved in the company, which means
he wasn't really. How involved was he? He wasn't really involved.
He just said he wouldn't make appearances. Well, they brought him in time to time to do stupid stuff.
Hey, by the way, we're 100 days from opening day. I just want to let you know we're 100 days from opening day.
On that, let me see if I can find that question. This is good.
I think Foley. Listen, I think Foley. He was trying to do one last match.
Forever, but
I don't want to see him do one more. I think the Mick Foley legacy.
We talked about this earlier.
Is so
he'd be another one of
fascinating
those guys. Yeah,
he was a guy. He was a guy that really. It was so organic. It was so organic because that's this. Think about the character he portrayed and how he became beloved. There was no reason why the audience should love Mick Foley, Mankind. There was no depth to the character to love. He was just a gross booger boy. That was his gimmick, right? He was a gross, disgusting booger boy that ripped his hair out and he played with rats. He was Lenny from Mice and Men. And then he turned into something incredible because he's such a brilliant guy.
Probably one of the best interviews in wrestling I've ever seen is that Mick Foley and our Mankind and JR interview in the boiler room. Or wherever he was, and they were just sitting there talking.
You know what was a moment for me? You know what was a moment that I was like, oh my God, this guy's really good. How old was I? 13 years old? 12? In Your House Mind Games. Shawn Michaels Mankind, 1996.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't believe this guy. I couldn't believe what he was doing. This is before Hell in a Cell. I remember when I was a kid, okay?
Well, I remember him as Cactus Jack.
I loved Cactus Jack. I love Cactus Jack.
WCW.
Do you know what I was so invested in? When he went missing. Do you remember? He went missing. He got concussed and he had amnesia. And they had no idea where he was. And they had a reporter. I want to say it was Missy Hyatt. Like, what year is this? 1992? Most likely 92.
Yeah, that tracks.
She was hanging
out
doing
with all sorts of things, yeah.
And it was like she's in the scene, like in Detroit, in the scene from RoboCop, where like the homeless people are like starting fires in the garbage cans and they're like warming up. It was such a disparaging end of world scenario. And Missy Hyatt's doing like reporting of whatever. Where's Mankind? Where's Cactus Jack? I love that. I was such a big fan of his. Yeah, Foley's very vocal about Trump's association with WWE. Listen, they are a mega company, and this is how all of them operate. They will kiss butt into whoever's in office. That's just, there's nothing new.
You got to remember too, yeah, and you got to remember, Linda McMahon being on his staff or in his cabinet
Hunter's
has
involved,
nothing to do with
Linda's
WWE
involved,
anymore.
And it is what it is. See, I will tell you something. I will never talk politics. You will never know my political opinion on anything. I'm a big believer that you keep your vote to yourself and you don't talk to dummies. You don't talk to people that want to argue with you. You talk to people that want to have a discussion. I don't talk politics. I will never sit here and lecture any of you on politics. Because no matter what I say, I will be wrong. And I don't want to be wrong.
All right. Let's end this on a statement.
No, keep going. I'm on a roll. Okay, go.
Well, we don't have any more questions.
All right, let's whatever.
We're at an hour right now.
Yeah.
All right. This one's going to irk you, and I think it's funny. From Armand.
Oh, fucking guy, Armand. Fucking guy. 100 days from the Mets losing 100 games starting it. You know what? I got to tell you, I've seen far shittier Mets make the playoffs, okay?
Yeah.
I've seen far worse versions of this team do well. They won over 100 games with a really bad team a couple years ago. So, I'm hoping they do some decent stuff. I am a big baseball boy. I love baseball. That's my number one sport. I played a lot of baseball. I was really good at baseball.
Our post shows or our pre-shows for you and I are usually 10 minutes of baseball.
Yeah. Let's see. Kota Metoriku. How often will you go to Citi Field for Mets games, but end up at the casino instead once it opens? I'll definitely go to the casino. I don't gamble. I'm not a big I have nothing against you guys doing it. I don't gamble. I don't bet. Very little. I'm in a bunch of Super Bowl boxes. I do that. I bet on the ponies. I go to Belmont and I bet on the horses. I don't bet on things that I really love, like baseball.
Yeah, that's where you get in trouble.
I'll probably go to 30 games this year.
So is that slated to open, or is that still just a pipe dream?
No, it's happening, but it's going to be years. It's going to be years. It's not opening now.
Okay, that's what yeah.
I did see video. I showed you guys, right? You saw the video I sent you of Arthur Ashe Stadium?
Yes.
Somebody sent me that video.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're totally renovating it. And we got the soccer stadium, the NYFC soccer stadium being built for like 25,000 people, outdoor stadium, which would be great. And I'm sure there's going to be some sort of amphitheater, a couple thousand people at the Hard Rock next to Citi Field. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I'm a diehard Mets fan. I always have been. I tell my kids all the time, it builds character. My kids were so sad this year. I've never, and my wife too. We watched every game this year. Every game, every preseason game. We watched preseason baseball. Who watches preseason baseball from Port St. Lucie? Nobody. Me.
Degenerate.
I watched everything this year. My daughter is in shambles over Pete Alonso. Also, Pete gave her an autograph ball. That also, doesn't help. Yeah. My son got it from Ronnie Darling, which, thank God he's still on commentary. Dude, did I tell you Hunter caught a foul ball last year?
No, you didn't.
This kid caught a fucking foul ball. In his tiny little arms, he just caught a foul ball.
Did he kind of wrap it up, or did he actually get it with his hands?
It bounced, and he caught it after it bounced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he caught it with his hands.
Good for him.
Dude, I love baseball. I don't hate the Phillies. I mean, I don't love the Phillies. I don't hate the Phillies. I appreciate good teams. I like a good game. I don't dislike the Yankees at all. I'm just not a Yankees fan.
I'm gonna do one more question, if you don't mind, and this is a good place to leave it.
I like that you skipped the Ebro in the mornings question. Now that
I did skip it because I didn't think it was relevant. I know you probably have opinions on it, but
I do.
This one I missed. Okay, fine. We'll do two more. We'll do that one.
I'm not doing that one. I'm not answering that one.
Okay, you're not answering that one?
Not a fan. Not a fan of that show. It's barely a radio show.
Fair enough. All right, so this one.
Do you think Keith Lee returns to wrestling? Yeah.
Fair. Okay.
I think so. I think so. I can't tell you when. I don't know when. But
I mean, wasn't he injured for a while?
he was.
I know
yeah.
he's had some. I know he had some heart problems at one point.
He's had a series. I mean, just a series of unfortunate things. Just a series of unfortunate things.
It's been 2 years, right?
Yeah, because he was in that program. He was supposed to tag with Swerve, and then they were supposed to have a match, and it never happened. And then they tried to do it again, and then it didn't happen. Armand, I'd love to meet you at a Mets game. What am I? I think I'm section 12. Where are my seats? I'm Delta Club, baby. What are they now? It's Clover Club now. Yeah.
Now you're giving out your whereabouts. People don't want to look for you.
Do you know? I'm going to tell you something. You want a fun fact about me in that building? I'm one of the few people, the handful of people that's allowed actual stemware in that building.
Oh, so you can carry around a little wine glass?
I don't carry it around, but I don't take it outside of the building. But when I'm at the bar or I get actual stemware. I don't get the plastic ones that they give you at the bar. I get actual stemware. I'm one of the few people.
Cool.
I demand it.
Right.
I'm like, what am I, an animal drinking wine out of a plastic cup? They bring me a big goblet. All right, do we have any more? I think Keith Lee's coming back.
Just they want more. There's another question about your thoughts on the Ebro show, and you kind of already said it.
I don't want to get mean. I'll tell that story one day.
Okay.
I was supposed to be the morning guy, like for Hot 97 to go up against Howard Stern, like Paul Heyman was. No, that's my favorite story. That's my favorite Paul Heyman story. How he was supposed to be the morning guy on Hot 97 to go up against Howard Stern. That's my favorite. That's my favorite one.
All right. We're not getting new questions. I think we can kill it here.
All right. Time to wrap it up, guys. Love each and every one of you. We'll be back. If you want more of Andrew and Rich is not here, but if you want more, you can join us on Friday, Mattman Podcast on YouTube, 11:30 Eastern. Are we here this Friday? Yeah, I think we are here this Friday.
That's
so Friday
we'll
be here. Yep, we will be here this Friday. And that's it. All right, guys. Love you guys. See you later.